Marketers, it's time. It's time to leave the 90s. It's time to leave the early 2000s. It's time to break away from post-COVID rhetoric. It's time to realize that things are changing once again. But this is the industry that you're in. Platforms change, mediums change, consumer behavior changes, everything changes. And yet we still come here every single day, every single week, every single year, trying to debunk the myths and trying to find the right strategies, the right truths, the right frameworks, the right processes, the right everything to make our job not only easier, but successful and sustainable. And yes, being a marketer is a daunting job. We don't know if today's the day we're going to have a whole new playfield, a whole new scenery of things. I like to think of the movie Ender's Game, where every new level, everything changes. Everything that you knew that worked may be 1,000,000% ineffective moving forward. And that can be very taxating on us as marketers. If you haven't listened to my previous episode on talking about the state of marketing part 1, that was episode 108, go check that out first and come back to this episode 110 for the sequel for state of marketing part 2. More to-dos, less time. More to-dos, less time. And an infinite number of tools to keep track of. Doing business has never felt harder, more complicated, more exhausting than it's ever been. But you don't need a miracle to hit your goals. You just need HubSpot, because they're all on one customer platform can make growing your business infinitely easier. Imagine this: high quality leads, fast closing deals, wildly happy customers, and more benchmark breaking quarters. No, my friends, it's not a miracle. It is HubSpot. Convert your dream into reality and vision into actualization and marketing into money. Visit HubSpot.com to get started today. Listen, we've explored a lot in the previous episode, tying into HubSpot's state of marketing and referencing a lot of other anchor points talking about how do we move forward in 2024 and beyond. Again, I premise by saying this is no longer the 90s. This is no longer the early 2000s. We're far enough along, 4 years from the beginning of COVID, and we have to understand that even the things that worked during that small window of time has now literally deteriorated. The reality and the truth is that this isn't just a world where we post something and hope it lands, hope it converts. We have to do more to get more. And this is also a time whether you're an army of one, an army of many, or somewhere in between, that is still not enough time and people and minds to tackle all the things we need to do to drive things down our funnels, our pipelines, our flywheels, and y'all know what I say, pathways, and beyond to get from the cookie jar in a cookieless world. Ooh, y'all, I'm ready to host some Oscars or Emmy Awards. That was a hit. That was a line. I gotta just pause and be like, that was dope. But I digress. Anyways, this was all building up to just saying, marketers, it's time to embrace bots. It's not just enough to talk about the artificial intelligence boom. We've been hearing about chatbots and automation bot integrations for years. People have put it off time and time and time and time again. But I'm here to tell you now, in this moment, if you are a marketer, if you're leading a team of marketers, or you work with a marketer, or you're practicing marketing, it is time, myself included, to embrace bots.
What's up, digital world? You're listening to the I Digress audio experience with Troy Sandidge. Social media, marketing, storytelling, business, culture, and more. Coming to you in 3, 2, 1.
HubSpot research found that 55% of businesses predict that by this year, most people will turn to chatbots over search engines for answers. AI-powered chatbots offer a conversational approach to research, providing individualized, user-friendly results and gathering data that helps businesses grow. Even 25% of marketers who report having effective marketing strategies last year used AI and automation in tandem with chatbots versus only the 5% of those who reported not having ineffective marketing strategies. So Troy, what the heck does this mean and why does this matter? Well, I'm going to take a quote from Yamini, HubSpot CEO, where she says, "It's time to embrace bots." Check. To get started, experiment with a marketing bot for your website. Train your bot on your content so it can quickly answer questions specific to your customers' needs about products, pricing, and case studies. She says that even at HubSpot, they've introduced a Gen AI-powered chatbot to our website, and the results have been promising, leading to 78% of chatters' questions have been fully answered by our bot alone. And these customers have higher satisfaction scores. So, thank you, Yamini, for that quote and that breakdown for what HubSpot is doing and the benefit that they've seen from integrating bots. Now, for you at home, whether you're driving, whether you're on the computer, whether you're getting a workout at your gym, whatever the case might be, you may be asking yourself, I've been putting off adding bots for a long time. And honestly, Troy, I know I need to do it, but it's a little daunting. It's a little intimidating. And I don't know how to get started. I don't know where to go. I don't know how to do this. Well, I always say, when you're an expert in something, you know the experts in the room to pass on the right information to you. I'm going to keep it real with you. Bots is not my expertise, but I have quite a few friends who do. One that screams out to me is Kelly Mirabella. If you go to stellarmediamarketing.com, no, she is not paying me to talk about this. No, she doesn't even know I'm mentioning this, but this is the joy and the power of personal branding, sticking to a niche, and creating content for years about that niche. When you come to a threshold of something that you don't know, your mind tries to find who is the people and the platforms and the tools and resources that can give me the information that I need to confront this problem. Well, I know Kelly Mirabella for years, and we've shared mutual stages together, whether virtually or in person, a social media week Lima, and other various stages. But at any time someone needs to know about chatbots, she's been one of the ones that screams out to me as that's the person you need to talk to. She has a ton of videos on YouTube all about how do you integrate chatbots and make them work for you. You go to youtube.com/stellar247. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Well, that's just one expert that I know off the top of my head that can help with the literal implementation, integration, optimization, and advancement of taking bots and making it an effective piece of your operations and marketing infrastructure. But that's not where it ends. I'm here to talk about, well, okay, cool, Troy, you point me in the right direction of someone who can probably help me when I get to that point. I still need to be convinced of why it's time to embrace bot. I need to understand, how do I move this thing forward? Why? What can I do? Well, let me tell you this. If you think about it, there's so many mundane tasks that we do daily. So many things people ask us for. Whether you're in B2B and B2C, constantly, you have 35 seconds max to respond, answer the customer or client or potential customer or client or inquiry needs to be satisfied enough to either continue the conversation or get what they need to make a decision and move things forward. And you cannot be at your phone or your computer 24/7 to respond to every single one of those things as fast as a bot could. At the very least, the most basic of questions or the quick responses that is needed, a bot can do instantly if you know how to train it. So instead of taking your FAQs and leaving it on the site that we got to go find, click through the accordion through each one, and then it's like, if you didn't get the answers that you need, click here, fill out this contact form, wait 24 hours, by then I may not be a customer anymore. I'm just going to keep it real. Versus, it gives me an option. I click the option. It gives me another option. Clicks the option. I fill in my question. It processes it and outputs, here's a thought. Does this satisfy you? Does this make sense? Oh, it's not enough information. Let me plug you into someone. And that gives you a premise, a bridge of here's all the things this person's talked about. So you're not coming to the conversation blind. And surprisingly, believe it or not, integrating chatbots into a lot of people's infrastructures isn't as expensive as you think. 72% of marketers agree that AI and automation tools like chatbots help them personalize the experience customers get with their company. And I've said this time and time again. It's about experiences that's going to drive the reactions and the actions that we want from people. The better experience we have, the better impression we leave, the better perception we give, and the better the chances are that they will convert as customers, as clients, as audiences, and as advocates for our business and our brand. Again, the world is demanding more of us, and we have only so many hours in a day. We are not robots, but we can embrace robots to plug in to do the things that we don't want to do or don't have the speed or capacity to do in the beginning. But I do want to premise by saying this still doesn't mean we're replacing humans. We're creating a guardrail of outputs that a bot can do so that we can spend our time on the most important tasks, conversations, and close rates as human to consumer. So what do you think about that? And speaking of a lot of bots, if you want a free personal marketing assistant that's available 24/7, you should try Chatbots, which is also part of the HubSpot ecosystem as well. The link is in the show notes. Are you an aspiring entrepreneur or business-savvy individual ready to take matters into your own hands? Imagine starting a new venture with low startup costs, entering a growing market, and having the opportunity to shape your own future. Picture you're at the helm of a successful delivery business, partnering with one of the world's most prominent companies, Amazon, through their Amazon Delivery Service program. They are searching for hands-on leaders with grit and determination, people who are ready to hire, coach, and motivate a top-notch team of delivery associates. Maybe people like you. And here's the thing, you don't need logistics experience. You'll gain access to exclusive deals, services, training, business coaching, and state-of-the-art technology. As you launch and grow your business, you'll have the support of Amazon's team at every step. So, are you ready to build the future of delivery and embark on a rewarding journey with the Amazon Delivery Service Partner Program? Learn more and apply right now by going to amazon.com/radio. That's amazon.com/radio. And you can also click on the link in the show notes as well. Take the first step toward a brighter future today. So imagine getting 120 times return on investment and 50% better customer re-engagement rate at a 21% increase in sales conversions. Well, that's what Jo Beth Harvey, former CRM, loyalty, and wine club manager of Vinomofo, said that they were able to achieve once they integrated automated messaging to help them scale their omnichannel customer experience. And Vinomofo is one of the biggest Australian online wine realtors in the world. But think of it this way, it's not just with email. You have SMS for text messaging. And speaking of email, email still works. Email is the tried and true. No matter what happens, no matter what you purchase, no matter what you do, you still have to give what? An email. You still have to give an email to send the receipt, to send the proposal, to send the contract. Email is still as important as ever, and don't let no one tell you otherwise. Email is a necessity regardless of generation, but I will say this though, that we are not tapping into how email should work moving forward. The most effective way to drive email now is being more dynamic, being more engaging, being a storyteller first email output machine. I learned a lot from Jay Swedelson, founder of subjectline.com, and a whole bunch of other things. He tells you all the time. The subject line is the first step. Make it fun, make it engaging, remove the fluff, be direct. But email can do so much more. You can tie in email into your expanded network of tools and content. If you're posting on social media, make sure you reference it in your email platforms. If you're posting it on YouTube, make sure you reference in your email. If you're driving a marketing campaign, you never know that detour from the email will drive more people to attend your session, to be a part, to engage in that video, to engage in that content. We always think the only way to get through social media is through social media. Whereas when you have someone's email, that's a one-on-one interaction. There's less distractions. If you can avoid the spam box, you have a green light right to them in a way that only you can through email. And all they have to do now, if you create the right brand persuasion, the right relations, and you have the right intent with the right tone and messaging, you can get higher conversions, not just to open the email, not just to read the email, but bounce that off into your app, your social media platforms, your content, whatever's happening on the other side of the thing, as long as it's relevant to them. And we've come to this thing where I want to challenge you in this moment to not see email and SMS and video and social and in-person events and virtual as separate entities. I need you to close your eyes and see them all as one connected whole. All the nodes are connected into this sphere. And if all the nodes are connected, we get the opportunity to have as many touch points as possible to maintain people. It's not enough to get them to become a conversion, to become a customer, a client, a view, a like. I need them to stay in my sphere. This means I need you to stay into my atmosphere. The gravitational pull needs to maintain everyone in equilibrium in a safe space. I rock with this. I'm an advocate for this. I got the buy-in for this. And so some of that's going to take bots. Some of that's going to take email. Some of that's going to take social media. You need to have multiple touch points with people. I'll give you a perfect example. I just pulled off the greatest possible surprise birthday ever for my wife. Now, to make this possible, I had to depend a lot on technology. Troy, what do you mean? I'm about to get to you in a moment. I didn't have the time to go to 5 different bakeries and taste test flavor combinations and see what they're going to look like. I had a day to make a decision, send my money, and pray in 3 days I was going to be able to get something that was going to be up to my standards that my wife was going to love. So, shout out Taylor's Bakery. They didn't pay me to do this. I'm just keeping it real of my experience. Go online. Ooh, cool. This place is not too far from me. Check. I didn't have to do a lot, came right up and search. But then I go maybe on TikTok and search, what they got going on. And they got certain cakes. It's really fun. Ooh, okay, this is my vibe. This is my jam. The visual aspect of it is, oh, it looks good. Okay. I'm probably not going to have the time to go through a ton of Google reviews and all that stuff. I got to make a decision now. So, accessibility, close to me. I was able to order online, which is key. I don't have the time to call, all that stuff. I'm moving and gunning, all right? So, go on the platform. It's very simple. I need a small cake. I can select the flavoring. I can select the design. We didn't need a real big cake because it's just the two of us. Cool. I want it to look like this. I want to have some pizzazz. I want to add some color. Click, click, click. Boom. Chatbot pops up. Do you have any questions? Do you need any more answers? I'm good. Keep it moving. But I like the option that it was there. Kept it moving. Again, I did all this from my phone. I wasn't even on the computer. I'm looking at the visual. I confirmed the vibe. I confirmed that you're not too far away. You're in my price range. It seemed a good quality cake from the visual, from the word choice. Cool. So what did I do? I paid for it. Put the caption what I need on top of the cake. Kept it moving. Now here's the joy of everything. Get an email confirmation. Hey, this is your cake. This is your confirmation number. It will be ready at this location at this exact time. When I tell you my itinerary was full within a certain window, everything was crunched to the letter. So by the time I went to go pick up my balloons, I had to go right and pick up the cake. And if the cake wasn't there at that location, ready for pickup at the time I needed to, it would throw off the entire rest of the day. So because of the experience, because of the choice, guess what? The cake was beautiful. And we've been eating the cake for a week straight because it's that good. It's that moist. It was that delicious. And the look on her face when she saw it, when she ate it, worth every single penny. Priceless. The experience was priceless. See, what we don't realize in integrating all these things, we see the experience, the end, when we provide the deliverable to the customer. What we don't consider is the additional experiences that the consumer, the customer, the audience, the viewer is having pass the baton to them. That can still benefit our business. Now, here's the joy of all of this. We had a phenomenal birthday, and I'm riding on a high. We're still eating our cake, and I get a text message saying, hey, we hope your cake was great. We hope your experience was great. Before they asked me, what is this for? I said it's for a birthday. They saw that it was a person, so they don't know the relationship of this person, but they said, okay, we hope, insert my wife's name, birthday was great. We hope the cake took the cake. We hoped that it was this and that, and it was. And then after all of that, I'm like reliving the moment. And the last line says, if you'd be so kind to share your experience with us, we'd be so grateful, because those moments captured matters to the next person who's trying to debate, do I pick this cake bakery or this cake bakery? And what's going to be the difference? What's going to be the deciding factor? It's going to be the people post the cake given to them. What are the moments I've experienced? And the thing we need to understand in marketing, it's not just the deliverable to get them to convert. It's to get them to be an advocate after, to get them to buy back into our ecosystem, keep in our sphere after. I may not use them again for another year. But because the experience was so great and they had me in my sphere, the next moment I need a cake, I'm probably going to lean back on that experience and choose them. And it won't even require ad spend, reviews, searchability, or nothing. I'm going right to them directly, booking my order, keeping it moving because the last experience was so fantastic. Here's the thing, y'all. I didn't interact with one person. Google search, views on TikTok, email, filled out the form, text message saying, would you like to leave a review? Which I did, by the way, if you want to fact check me. And I told how amazing the cake was, how moist it was, how I've never ate a cake before that I didn't get a stomach ache. My stomach was not aching after eating the cake. As much as we ate in the cake, it was that good. I'm like, is this a birthday or are we getting married again? Like, the cake was that good. But I digress. So, just from that experience shared alone, maybe you all like, you know what? I need to go to Taylor's Bakery and get up a cake for somebody. Well, you're welcome. Give me a confirmation notice or something. You know, we can work out a deal. But that whole 4-minute recap of my experience, y'all, was made possible through technology. Again, I interacted with nobody. It was a series of sequences, the right language, the right accessibility, the right process, and the right timing to make it clear what you need and what you want. And so, when you think of this sphere and all the nodes that are connected to make it possible, maybe that analogy, maybe that visualization will help you understand the gravitas now of I need to connect all these nodes together. And if I don't have them, that means my nodes are broken, which means my sphere isn't complete, which is going to make me obsolete in a little bit of time if I don't complete the sphere. We need to integrate artificial intelligence now, not just because it's sexy or it's cool to say, because it's survival. To put it lightly, you wouldn't start a business without a website in 2024. But pre-2000s, even pre-90s, that wasn't a thing. Websites? No, please. And before that, TV. And before that, radio. And before that, mail. This is that same equivalency. You see, because it's not like a whole different medium right now, we don't see it in the same correlation as mail, radio, TV, website / internet. But it is. Because now we're realizing we need to save as much time as possible, and we're having less and less and less time to win someone over. Digital marketers, this one's for you. I've got 30 seconds to tell you about Wix Studio, the web platform for agencies and enterprises. So here are a few things you can do in 30 seconds or less when you manage projects on Wix Studio. Work in sync with your team on one canvas. Reuse templates, widgets, and sections across sites. Create a client kit for seamless handovers and leverage best-in-class SEO defaults across all your Wix sites. Looks like time's up, but the list keeps going. Step into Wix Studio to see more. Visit wix.com/studio today. I know that people say sometimes now that people have the attention span of a fish. I don't agree 100%. I think now our standard for your window to convince us to continue to listen, to continue to watch, to continue to read, to continue to go down your pathway, your pipeline, your funnel is shorter because there's so many competitors in the market. There's so many things competing for our attention. And so it's not so much that we don't give the things that we love, the things that we need, the things that we want, the right amount of attention, is that you have to prove yourself to us that you're worthy of our attention. And so if your response time is within a 5-second window, and you're already giving me information that I need to make a decision versus 5 minutes, oh, no, there's no one to respond. Honestly, at this point, because of other things that we deal with consumer markets, if you don't have a chatbot available for me, or a chat opportunity for me, or a form I can fill out an email, I really don't feel like calling as much anymore. I don't feel like doing certain things. I literally was trying to book something one time, and I didn't even know that that particular industry engages in text messages. I was engaging with doctors in text messages on booking a time for my appointment. So quick, so convenient, so easy. Half of it was automated. I have the eye. I'm a marketer. I know what this stuff. I know what it looks like, but it doesn't matter. It was still convenient. And it was in a way where it was less stressful. Navigating text messages through your phone feels like a personal experience. And most times, people who are texting us are only those who we give our numbers to. Usually. But in those moments, it's easy to respond, engage, reflect. But many people are not tapping into that because I don't got the time. You're losing out on money. You're losing out on opportunities because you're not connected your sphere to reflect back on modern day society needs, norms, and conventions. Ooh, now, y'all can't tell me I ain't spitting this game right now. And if you feel that I'm spitting this game, go to idigress.fm/reviews and leave me a review, or search idigress on Apple Podcasts and drop a review, drop them stars, because I need it. The more reviews I get, the bigger my reach, the more opportunity for more people to listen and engage with my show. That we are getting closer and closer to the goal, to the big audacious goal of 1 million downloads, which I cannot believe. And all that is thankful to you all, my listeners. Thank you. We are doing this thing. Speaking of thing, I do want to read a few of my reviews. Big thank you to a good friend of mine, Buster Brown. Great information here. This guy has definitely did his work. He has helped so many people. If you haven't got the book, get the book. If you haven't listened to the podcast, listen to the podcast. It's definitely one of those guides to keep handy. Natalie Gregg, How to Master Your Craft in Just 10,000 Hours. I remember that episode. Such a great episode. Idigress Podcast with Troy Sandidge will always challenge your beliefs about strategy, marketing, and scaling your brand and your business. He is a master at providing a commentary that will inspire you to take strategic action. Troy has the incredible ability to take what is and morph it into what will be. Episode 60. Appreciate you for listening to that past episode, Natalie. Appreciate you leaving a review. Thank you so much. A great find of a podcast. I've started my entrepreneur journey and found I digress through another podcast episode, and then I became hooked. It's got lots of creative acronyms, great marketing advice that I've used with lots of success. I need creative people in my life who use metaphors, and Troy is a great one to follow. Thank you, Luna Kick. Appreciate you as well. Again, please leave me a review. Maybe I'll read it on the show. If you do me one better and tag me, I may send you a link to download my book, Strategize Up, for free ebook download for you to have. Or maybe I'll offer you a 30-minute consultation. We can talk about whatever you want to strategize up your business, your product, your service, your content, whatever the case might be. Please leave me a review. Mistakes That Made Me, hosted by Iman Ishmael, is brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. Mistakes That Made Me is the podcast that asks extraordinary business owners to share their biggest business mistakes so you know what not to do on your road to success. Join Iman as she chats with some of the smartest minds in business about how to push through failure, adversity, and challenges and accept it as an important and necessary part of building a prominent business. Because as it turns out, your biggest business mistakes often lead to your biggest lessons that then convert into your biggest blessings. Listen to Mistakes That Made Me wherever you get your podcasts. You know, there's a reason I chose this podcast to be basically an audio-only experience. As flamboyant and engaging and extrovert-like experience that I provide when I meet people in person, and I'm on live streams, I'm doing virtual talks and all that jazz, I knew for myself, and those who are OG podcast listeners, you know, I had 3 rules. Audio only, 30 minutes or less, which would just pass that threshold, and being authentically myself. I knew that the video component of the podcast at the time would just be too daunting, too overwhelming, and just too much work to do for what the experience I was trying to output. The consistency of outputting episodes to me to get into that rhythm outweighed of me trying to be a 5-star video audio dual experience, because in reality, if you're incorporating video, that's 2 separate shows. I don't care what anyone says. Because, yeah, you can take a video and output it for audio, but there's certain nuances that aren't shared the same dynamically that you can get with video that you can't with audio. And in the same way, there's certain nuances that audio thrives in better at that may not reflect the same way when it comes to video. And so I knew for my own standard, if I were to do video first, I would basically be doing 2 shows in one. One for video, one for audio consumption. And I just didn't have the time or ability to do so. Troy, what's your point? What's the segue? The segue is this. Now, we as consumers are demanding more video, but it's strategically, how do we optimize? I was just at empowered podcasting conference in Charlotte, and it was a wonderful experience. Shout out to the entire 4 co-founders. Shout out to everyone who attended. And they were breaking this down from any spectrum of who you are as a podcaster, whether you're a beginner or an expert, and whether you are an audio-only experience, you're a video-only experience, or you're a combo of both. And they're breaking down the cameras and technology and the lighting and the positioning and the framing and the different audio tracks, which I'm currently using Riverside.fm for my audio needs and recordings moving forward. So shout out to Riverside.fm. The quality, it's so much better with the noise reduction, echo cancellation, and the functionality and the usability and giving me that real crisp podcast audio vibes. You know what I'm saying? Definitely shout out to them. If you want to know more about that, click on my link in my show notes. And they were breaking all of these things down of the requirements to give the video experience so much success. And I'm sitting here and I was like, whew, glad I chose audio only. But slowly and surely now, the ones that are leaning into video more are the ones that's capturing the attention more. And there comes to a point where you have to consider that. Whereas you may have certain preferences of platforms that you want to use, of content you want to consume. And one of the biggest mistakes many marketers, many leaders, many entrepreneurs, many business owners make is that they align their own personal preferences as the bylaws for how they need to get customers, get consumers, get viewers and listeners. And that is wrong. Many times it may match up and run in parallel, what you like and what they like. And you may run out of people that like what you like, which means you either accept that and deal that you hit cap, or you have to pivot to get a bigger audience of people to see you, know, like, trust, buy, and act from your content. So what does that mean, Troy? What do? Got to embrace it. You got to embrace the fact that, that's just for YouTube. That's just for long content. I'm not trying to be an influencer, blah, 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 blah. No, this is just literally the same equivalency when social media became usable for businesses. It's just a fun thing to do, whatever. No, it's real now. We went through this in 2012 with Instagram. We went through this at the same time during the pandemic with TikTok. Reddit's making it come up. All these platforms now are more relevant than they've ever been to earning trust, to navigating audiences, and moving things forward. I would be remiss to not emphasize time and time again, we have 5 generations in the workplace. And I would be ignorant to think that as things progress, as things move forward, as things navigate accordingly, you don't have more respect for the newer generations coming in with buying power. I don't have to worry about them. I'm going to lean on this. Said every legacy company ever that went under the bus because they didn't pivot to the new demand of the new generations coming behind them, the new mediums coming behind them, and the new platforms that are screaming and saying, this is how you shop. This is how we consume. This is how we buy. You either adapt to this or you DIE. You're unalive as a business. We don't want that. I don't want that. None of us wants that. Again, we set the tone at the beginning of the episode. Marketers, it's not the same as it was in the 90s. It's not the same as it was in the early 2000s. It's not the same as it was pre-pandemic. And it's not the same as it's been post-pandemic, 4 years removed, moving forward. Now, we're entering a whole new era. Things are changing. The behavior of consumers are changing. The psychology of what got them there before is not going to be the same now. I'm not saying the fundamentals are not the same. I'm saying the nuances and the strategies and the frameworks are different. It's coded differently. And this is the honest truth. The state of marketing now is to understand we have to embrace technology. We have to be ready to adapt and pivot. And we have to understand that our voice needs to be magnified to create that spear. Make sure all those nodes are connected. I was just in Vegas and I just saw the spear for the first time. I'm not talking about just the outside of the spear. I'm talking about going inside the spear and having that spear experience. And oh my goodness, for those who know of me, you know how geeked I was. It was just a joy. I was enjoying every minute. I've never seen anything like it. If you ever get the chance to go see it, go explore it for sure. But what triggered in my mind, my very creative visual mind, as I'm seeing the external of the spear, and then I get to go inside the spear to see the whole experience inside of it, is that what you see on the outside of the spear is just a simple shell. And all these lights working together to give you a visualization and experience. What we don't see until we get on the inside is all the intricate details and things that make all this run. There's a whole nother experience on the inside of the sphere than on the outside. And so the outside of the sphere is we're attracting people as marketers to get people to come to our funnel, our pipeline, our flywheel, and our pathway is one thing. But once they're inside the sphere, it's a totally different thing. It's amazing. It's like you have such an appreciation for the work involved, especially when you get to see under the hood. All the automations in place, talking to each other, going from the website to social, to email, to SMS, to video, all the different things, sending invoices, sending chats, all these things need to speak and talk to each other. And the more and more things that we can use from an automative and an AI perspective to integrate these things, but still have that human flair, that human touch, the better off we will be. So the state of marketing, part 2, if I had to summarize it all, embrace the chatbots, double down on SMS and chat messaging. Email's not dead. It's never been dead. Whoever said it was, they lying. Learn how to pivot and adapt accordingly. Double down on video. Double down on, at the very least, adapting to what the audiences need. And as I said time and time again, embrace smart marketing protocols, or SMPs for short, and always add to your cup. Audience dictates direction, and know your capacity, your utility, and your performance. As one of my reviews said, they love my metaphors and acronyms. I appreciate, I love you, and I thank you. The reason I speak in these things is for it's easier for you to understand, easier for me to remember, easier for all of us to remember and embrace. When we lean on the audience dictates direction, which adds into our cup. When we acknowledge that the audience dictates direction, as long as we keep that as our North Star, the resistance to artificial intelligence integration and chatbot optimization and advancing in email and video marketing and content marketing and modifying how we do social media moving forward won't be as difficult when we let the audience dictate our direction. And then we notate our capacity to do these things, the utility to do these things, and what the performance will look like from it. So when we look at the state of marketing as a whole moving forward, anytime someone tells you this is happening, this is really happening, this is what people are doing, adapting, embracing, aligning, and you're feeling on the outskirts, one, let's be real. Shut your brain off for a second. What do you see? Do you see your audience using it? Do you see your audience needing it? Do you see your business needing to do it to convert? If you said yes to all of those, then your resistance should be less, and you should really push forward and moving that forward. Now, the caveat to that is, what's our capacity in this moment to embrace it? Do you have the capacity to integrate chatbots, or do we need to go hire someone like Kelly or someone else to help us integrate? Do we need to use a platform like ChatSpot and embrace HubSpot to do this? Do we need to call a consultant to help us figure out just the overall infrastructure and strategy, which, hello, I'm here, growwithtroy.com. Check it out. Nevertheless, you need to know your capacity for what you can do and what you can't do. Remember your four currencies: time, money, knowledge, and skill. Do I have the time to do it myself? Do I have the money to pay for someone else to do it? And do I have the knowledge and skill to do it? Or do I need to seek help to do that? How do I navigate that and move that forward? Then what's the utility of embracing these certain things? And what's the plan moving forward? I may not be able to do all this at once, but if I get started on it now, by 2025, maybe I have a whole infrastructure in place where my bots handle all of my inquiries from the beginning. Or we've built an infrastructure where now, we're embracing artificial intelligence, which allows us to expand on our themes and topics for our podcast or our video series or our social content. Makes it easier to record, makes it easier to output. And there's so many tools and technologies now that are actually honestly affordable. It's just find the right combination of things that's going to make us more powerful and dynamic. I don't want you to be afraid of change, because change is inevitable. What the reality is, what side of the change will you be on? Will you be early adopters? Will you be, I'll wait till it becomes very popular and I'm going to lean into the peer pressure? Or will you be a late bloomer that may miss out on opportunities because you were too resistant in the beginning to identify the audience is dictating we need to go here, going right, and I'm choosing to go left because I don't like it. I don't have an affinity for it. I don't want to. It's not about you. It's about your audience. And that's the separation between us and how we navigate as marketers, as entrepreneurs, and as business owners. For many of you, if you haven't downloaded the State of Marketing Report from HubSpot, the link is in the show notes. Please click on it so I can get credit for it. But also, more than that, I want you to explore and review it. And if you're looking at the State of Marketing Report and there's other questions, other deep dives you would like for me to explore on this show, on this podcast experience, I'm at Find Troy on all social media platforms. Feel free to ping me, send me a DM, or tag me in a question you may have, and I love to explore it. And if I don't have the answer, guess what? I have a plethora of expanded network of people who I can call on any point in time to bring them in as a masterclass to expound on that theme or that topic, which I might add, there are masterclass episodes on the way. Thank you all so much for listening. Again, for those who don't know, those show notes, they're not just there for nothing. They're there for links for additional resources per the episode or per the show. So if you've never experienced the show notes, you can go to idigress.fm, match the episode, you'll see all the links, or you can go on any of your distribution platforms that you're listening to this podcast right now. You'll see the links. When you click on the episode, click on them. They're a benefit to you. And yeah, transparently, they also, in some cases, are a benefit to me, but 100% a benefit to you. So please consider to click on the show notes per maybe past episodes or your favorite episodes that have references, tools, technologies for you to experience, to explore at a discount that I've used. There's nothing on my show that I talked about that I allowed to happen if I didn't have an affinity for it, a relationship for it, or a use case for it, or a trust factor for it. Because you're trusting me and I'm trusting the people that I'm expanding on my show with. And this is our relationship. And we have this thing going. So let's keep it going. Let's keep going strong. State of Marketing, Part 2. Let me know your thoughts. Tag me on social media at Find Troy. Maybe we'll do a State of Marketing Part 3. Where will we go? Where will we expand? I do have some really fun things on the come up. So please stay tuned for that. And again, I'll see you next time. Troy out.
And that's a wrap. We hope you enjoyed this episode of I Digress. What was your takeaway? Care to share your thoughts and tag Troy on social media? You can find him on all platforms at Find Troy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review or comment for this episode from wherever you're listening. Looking for a marketing strategist to build the structure, strategies, and systems you need to get the success you want and the ROI you desire in your business? Book a discovery call to talk with Troy at findtroy.com. And as Troy's philosophy goes, imagination is the engine, content is the fuel, social media is the highway, marketing is the roadmap, sales is the destination, culture is the GPS. Thanks for listening.